Hi, everybody in podcast land and also on YouTube. I'm James.
I'm David.
I'm Riley.
And this is the Carpool Critics Movie Podcast, where today we are discussing the 1993 classic, Jurassic Park.
Spoiler alert! If a dinosaur said spoiler alert, that's how they would say it.
I think the water in my water bottle just trembled there.
Also, 1993, guys. Come on. If you haven't seen this movie, what are you doing? Every time I do a spoiler alert, I'm also going to shame people for not watching the movie. Just so you know.
Especially when you could be born after this movie and still get into the bar.
That's true. We've all seen this movie before, right?
And depressing. As a kid, but never as an adult.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I've watched it once as an adult.
And if you're in our convoy of listeners who watch the movies before our podcast every week, next week we're going to do Judas and the Black Messiah, which is a new movie coming out 2021.
Very exciting.
On HBO Max.
Getting good reviews. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about Jurassic Park.
Today, it's Jurassic Park all day.
David?
Good for you. David, what are you giving this movie out of 10?
Jurassic Park is an absolutely landmark achievement in blockbuster filmmaking, VFX, and curing insomnia. 7 out of 10.
Nice.
David thinks it's a snoozer.
It's a boring movie.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I think it's really boring. I've tried to watch it many times over the last 10 years, and I don't think I've ever made it through in the last 10 years. I always fall asleep.
Coming out of 2001, this was not boring at all. Here's my slogan. Equal parts terrifying and heartwarming. Jurassic Park takes a bite out of the 8.5 out of 10.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 8.5. I liked it.
Great.
I was not bored.
Jurassic Park is a 1 in a million concept that's fun for the whole family, unless your family includes scared babies and dads who are mad that the shotguns never get used.
Hey!
8 out of 10. Pretty much piggybacking what you're saying about it's equal parts frightening and wholesome.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I can't figure out what it is.
Oh, so you had a problem watching it with your kid?
No, my kid was asleep, but I could see
I was too scared as a kid to watch this
It's super
movie.
wholesome, but then it's like, whoa, that guy is getting bitten in half by a dinosaur.
Well, but okay, well, we'll get into it.
Yeah, when I was a kid, that scene when the arm falls on her, that was too much for me. I remember walking away from the TV.
But that's really like the only instance of gore in the movie.
But it's scary. It's tense.
it's definitely scary.
The man hanging out of the T-Rex's mouth is crazy.
Who, what? That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it does.
Who win?
The lawyer.
Oh, his lower half.
Who cares about that? Only his head's in the mouth.
You don't see him get severed.
No.
He's
But
just
you
like,
see-
no,
he
I'm
gets
getting
flung.
tickled.
He
I'm
gets-
getting tickled by the tongue.
He's getting flung around, like shaken like a dog.
Who gets shaken around?
He gets bitten and shaken around.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's a lawyer, so.
Yeah,
very
that's
satisfying.
actually
Very
so funny. Can you imagine? Like the FCC or whoever it is. It's like, oh, that's PG.
Yeah, they're fine. He's not a human.
Yeah. All right, let's get right into it. Right after this message from our sponsor, Private Internet Access VPN. PIA helps you hide your true IP address so that you can bypass geo restrictions and censorship and just general malaise, internet police people, downers. You can connect up to 10 devices at once, and it includes an internet kill switch.
Clever girl.
If your VPN gets disconnected involuntarily. PIA is available for Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and even as a goddamn Chrome extension. So check it out at lmg.gg/carpoolcritics, lest you be entombed in amber. Carpool Critics is supported by Vessi Footwear, famous for making shoes that are light, comfortable, and most importantly, waterproof.
Waterproof.
If you step in one of those really deep T-Rex puddles. They're made from a dual climate knit material, and they're 100% vegan, which is completely badass. They don't eat goats. They've just announced the new weekend shoe, which Riley is pointing at, but you don't know because you're listening to a podcast. So head to Vessi.com/carpoolcritics to reserve your own or check out their existing lineup and get $25 off using our code. He has kissed his own shoe.
I just kissed it.
Okay.
Disgusting.
He's wearing a mask.
I'm wearing a mask. Yeah, sorry. That's what they're for.
All right. If you haven't watched this movie since childhood, why doesn't Riley just tell you?
Okay.
Why doesn't he?
Why don't you just tell us? Rich old British guy John Hammond has built a theme park with cloned dinosaurs on a secluded island. But before it can open, its investors demand that experts certify its safety. So Hammond's team brings mathematician Dr. Ian Malcolm, paleontologist Dr. Alan Grant, and paleobotanist Dr. Ellie Sadler, they're together, the last two, to the island for a tour. The park's geneticists reveal the dinosaurs are actually part frog and are genetically female to prevent breeding. Malcolm scoffs at the idea, saying, life finds a way. Hammond sends the experts on a tour of the park with his grandchildren, Lex and Tim, who take a liking to Dr. Grant despite his distaste for kids. But the only dinosaur they actually see is a sick triceratops. Meanwhile, Jurassic Park's lead computer guy Dennis Nedry has been hired by a corporate rival to steal dinosaur embryos.
It's Newman.
Wayne Knight from Seinfeld. He deactivates the park's security system and books it as a storm hits the island, but he's eventually eaten by a Dilophosaurus. So forget about him. With the electric fences down, the tour group is attacked by a T-Rex who eats the lawyer guy and injures Malcolm while Grant escapes with Lex and Tim. They shelter for the night in a tree, discovering dinosaur eggshells in the morning. Some dinos have changed their sex, like West African frogs. Hammond's team reboots the park's systems, but it requires manual input from inside a maintenance bunker. Sattler volunteers and narrowly escapes from Velociraptors, who kill 2 other team members. Grant and the kids reach the visitor center, leading to a number of tense standoffs with 2 raptors. But just before the group gets eaten, they're saved by the T-Rex, who attacks the raptors, allowing the group to board a helicopter and escape.
You know, originally the T-Rex wasn't what saved them.
Oh.
And because you know they're dangling from this display that's like these bones of a T-Rex and a brontosaurus or something like that. Originally they cut the wires or something, and the T-Rex mouth of the bone fell onto the onto the raptors. But the T-Rex was such a big hit that they thought audiences would be really disappointed if they saw the T-Rex at the
for sure
at the early part of the movie and never again.
Yeah.
So it comes in, and it's a wicked ending having it come in from the side.
It is. I mean, it's a bit of a Deus Rex machina. I've been holding on to that.
Have you?
Yeah.
That was good.
I resisted putting it in the synopsis.
Shameless.
And I'm so glad that it came up so soon.
That was good.
Because it's certainly set up, but it doesn't feel like they've earned it.
Yeah.
They've done
for
nothing
sure.
to earn that T-Rex.
And I just had a logistical issue. I'm like, how did the T-Rex get in there? How did they? None of them hear
Notice?
it?
Nobody hears the big crash. Stomp, stomp,
It's
stomp
just like
this time.
silly.
He's like tiptoeing in.
He could be. He could do stealth stuff.
He looks at one of the kids. He's like, shh.
His little arm that can't make it to his mouth.
Oh man, we're memeing off this movie right away.
Yeah.
What do you guys love about this movie?
I think that the movie does a really good job at succinctly and clearly introducing every character. I think they each have like a good little introduction moment where you're like, I get who that is. I get these kids. I get Jeff Goldblum. I get Newman. I understand what they're going for.
It's
with these
really
characters.
tight like that. I was reading the screenplay this weekend, and the first, I would call Act 1. I'm going to get into this later, but it's kind of weird to think about how this movie's structured. But the time before they get on the helicopter to land on the island, when you're introducing almost all the characters, not the kids yet, and again, I'll talk about that. It's just so tight. It's like every scene is cool. Like it opens on that they're feeding a dinosaur, trying to transport a dinosaur. You see the trees are moving. You're like, oh crap, we're in the jungle. You know what you paid the ticket for. You know what you're about to see. But then they subvert your expectation, and it's actually just like a forklift and not a dinosaur. But it kind of is a dinosaur because it's carrying one.
Yeah.
I wrote that down as well because it's like that like rustling branches and stuff is a motif that's used. I mean, I guess it was used first here, but it's
No,
like,
probably Godzilla and stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I guess I was just going to say they're used in all of the Jurassic Park movies and like in tons of other like monster movies or whatever where it's like what's in the grass. But yeah, it's a great subversion in that moment.
I just like that scene's really cool and compelling, and then when you go from there to the dig site, that's cool the way they do it. You brushes like discovering a dinosaur bone. Everybody wants to do that, and the camera lifts up and reveals the whole shape of the dinosaur. Very cool stuff. Then you go right to Newman, and he's got this diabolical plot. You hate him instantly.
Right. Yeah.
It's just tight.
I like how and I feel like in another movie they wouldn't set up all of this background ahead of time. Like before we even, I think all that's set up before we even get introduced to Grant. Right?
I think what you get is you're in the woods with the disaster that happens when they're trying to transport the dinosaur. Then it goes to the lawyer who's at the
mine.
Amber Mine.
That Amber Mine scene, does it have bad ADR?
It felt like it.
It's like the voices sound like they're coming from like a session after the filming where they're talking into microphones. It's like too clear. You don't hear enough ambient noise. You go to there,
it didn't
and
bother me.
That's when he's. They're talking about Grant though. They're setting up Grant because remember the guy who's in charge of the mine there when he shows the lawyer a mosquito trapped in amber, and he says you'll never get Grant to the island because like me he's a digger. So it's kind of, I think it's permissible to be setting up somebody else.
No, yeah, I'm saying it's good. Like I feel like the movie showed restraint and not trying to not jumping right to the protagonists or whatever.
But you know what they do? As soon as you get to the island, they get that holy fucking shit, it's a dinosaur right away. I thought that was way later in the movie.
Oh really? What, the Brachiosaurus moment?
Yeah, it's right there.
Dude, man, that still moved me. I got chills watching this. I mean, I probably haven't seen this movie for Okay, here's what probably happened. I've seen clips of it as an adult, but I don't think I've watched this whole movie all the way through from start to finish as an adult, and it got me. I was like, this was made in 1993, and that scene, the CGI is clearly dated on the Brachiosaurus there.
Not awful, though.
It's not awful, and later I think the CGI... I mean, there's lots of practical props used in this as well, but I think that this scene being in broad daylight and kind of having this like broad expanse that's like it's easy to see the imperfections. It got me. Like the music swelling up. Was it John Williams?
Yes.
John Williams is freaking kills it every single time.
Yep.
The music and their acting is so good.
I was gonna ask you, do you think that's hokey or not? Like when he spots the dinosaurs, then there's slow motion, like stand up in the Jeep and like awkwardly take your glasses off and your mouth is just gaping open. Like, do you think, maybe I've seen The Gift too many times, but it kind of looks a little hokey to me now.
Honestly, man, I don't know. I was completely sold because like I'm just like staring at his face and all I see, there are a few moments where I'm like, this would have been hard for the actors not seeing the dinosaur to elicit this sense of real raw emotion, because I was like, they are seeing, like, this is a paleontologist who's studying these animals his entire life, and the very first time in his life he actually sees one in the flesh. It's like you're going to have like a religious experience.
You know what movie I had an experience just like that with, where it's a very similar thing, is Arrival. When they see that alien ship and the helicopter's flying into it for like a long time, I was like, wow.
I feel like when a movie can do this properly, where they can show a character really wrestling with the gravity of what's happening in front of them, and we as the audience can see that on their face, I feel like it's kind of rare for a movie to capture that properly. But I feel like this movie does it so well with the like originally they're not really paying attention and they look out and just kind of like the slow buildup of like the widening of the eyes, the grabbing the glasses, and he's struggling with them because he's so like shocked. He's like just the shock in his face, and then he grabs Sadler's head and turns her away, and she has like the exact same reaction, and it's just as good. Laura Dern is great in this movie, and Malcolm's character, I think he is consistent with that because he doesn't have the same sort of shocked reaction. He's not a paleontologist; he's a chaos theorist, so he's more like, oh, of course.
I think he also knew it wasn't a surprise to him because they didn't tell the paleontologist or the botanist what was there. Where with Malcolm, he just says, "You son of a bitch, you did it." Like he already knew.
I think it's a huge testament to Spielberg's skill, where he knows that like it's all about like the like slow release of like payoff, and he knows that we're waiting for the dinosaur, so that scene is like all this tension building because you know there's a dinosaur there, but you're forced to look at faces, and you're like, this tension's building as the music's building, and it's just like this huge moment of musical release as it's an emotional release, and it really does work.
Maybe that explains something in the screenplay that didn't quite make it to the actual final movie, which is in that scene it describes Laura Dern's Sadler talking about how this plant isn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Which you actually don't... She's just riding with it and has it, but in the screenplay, she's supposed to like pluck it off of some tree. It sounded like they are driving through a more heavily wooded area in the screenplay, but this is like a grassland. But she just has this leaf somehow.
Well, I think they started at the visitor center and they had to go through things, and I think the implication was that she just grabbed one.
Yeah, I believe it, but it's just different. But
that's something that
Grant,
go ahead.
Well, with Grant, they describe it as he's looking at these really big tree trunks. And it turns out the tree trunks are the legs of the Brontosaurus.
Oh.
And so maybe to speak to David's point, that wouldn't work because we know what we're watching, so we would just know their legs right away.
Yeah, I think that would undercut it.
Or just there's just no way to visually show that. Like
I think it also would have been a lot
think
harder too, because then you have to like mask all the trees and then like use that. Whereas if it's just like sky, that's really easy to put a CG figure in front of that.
I think that's a bit of an overused trope, where someone's like, there's like a giant thing and they're like just walking by it and they have no idea that it's there, and then suddenly like an eye opens or something and it's like, what, this boulder is actually a monster. I feel like that's overused, so I appreciate them just kind of having the raw reaction of just like, oh, holy shit,
another weird thing
dinosaur
from that scene from the screenplay is when I was reading the screenplay, there was all this dialogue when they're seeing the dinosaur, and I thought, I don't remember this crap. This must have got cut. This is so much dialogue. And it's talking about like, look how agile the Brontosaurus is. We never thought that. Look at it go on its tippy toes. And we were so wrong. But then watching the movie, it almost all is in there. It's just they kind of say it under their breath, and you don't really hear it and you don't really care anyway, but they're just having their own kind of stream of consciousness reactions as the professionals that they are. You watched it with subtitles, Riley?
Yeah.
So you would have seen that, David?
I did not watch it with
So
subtitles.
did you... You know the dialogue I'm talking about? Did you
Yeah.
did you notice it?
No, it felt very natural.
Well,
and
the
just
tippy
like,
toes-
as it would be.
The tippy toes thing to reach the high branches or whatever. I don't think that was dialogue. I think it just showed it. Showed the
In the screenplay it is.
Oh, in the
dialogue,
screenplay it is, yeah, but
Almost all of it made it in. But,
right. Yeah, I think that was.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think the CG when they first revealed the Brachiosaurus is a little dated. Like the way that the scrinch stretches and stuff on his body is bad. The next shot where they show the bunch of Brachiosauruses and the other dinosaurs with the ridge heads, and it's further back, and there's kind of like an ambient occlusion or something. That looked way better.
it's a great trick.
Yeah, I found it a little bit disappointing on this rewatch actually, that Brachiosaurus. I just was like, oh yeah, it looks like a 93 video game.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
1999 video game.
Oh, 100%. I think that CGI did not look that great, but I think that I got chills because of all the other elements.
Fair enough.
Were so great.
Do you guys have any idea if the 4K version of that movie is like a remaster on the...
I don't think it's like a real 4K. I think it's just like a upscaled 1080p.
So they didn't retouch the...
I don't think so.
Because I have to admit, there was times where I was like, is this the practical T-Rex or the CG T-Rex?
I think the T-Rex is way better, and part of it is the design of the lighting, where
Yeah.
it's much more obscured, and like there's a lot more blending between the animatronic and the
And there's rain.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, yeah, it's dark and there's rain and stuff.
and lens flares.
Oh,
Lens flares matter.
is it a problem?
No, it's great.
Oh,
It helps hide the CG.
the lens flares coming off the Tyrannosaurus's
Teeth.
flashlights.
They're-
Yeah,
flashlights.
it's got built-in lights.
Yeah. I think that this movie also is really good in the second act at like having like setting up an obstacle and then these characters have to overcome it in usually a clever way. Like it's not like always like the simplest thing. Like they're actually using their intellect and they're growing through these obstacles. And I think this movie does that really well.
One of the coolest moments is when you are torn as a viewer because you want Sadler to turn the power back on, but you don't want Grant and the kids to get electrocuted.
Yeah.
And you yourself have these competing interests.
Yeah, that's a good scene. Although, oh no, that's a nitpick. I'll get to it later.
Oh, I got some nitpicks.
We got lots of nitpicks.
But no nitpicks. Yeah, we're still
no,
at the positives.
positives.
I think probably my favorite thing about this movie is Alan Grant's arc. I think that it's like so neat.
That's Sam Neill?
Sam Neill,
Okay.
yeah, Dr. Alan Grant. He starts out as being this kind of like
Hold on a second. Do you mean neat like cool or do you mean like tight?
tight.
Okay.
I didn't want to say tight because you had already said like tight like 4 or 5
You should have said
times.
tizite.
It's tizite, my dude. Yeah, he starts out as just, it's very clearly established to us that A, he does not like technology. Like, he doesn't like the idea of kind of progress, which this whole island represents, right? That's like so thematically linked. And he does not like kids. I think also because kids are sort of like a representation of the future, right? He is kind of stuck in this place where he doesn't want to progress in his own life. He's like, I don't want to progress to like fatherhood. I want to stay where I am. I'm being this like grumpy old man, and I don't want to take responsibility.
Or advance his relationship with Sadler. Like,
Right.
they're not married, right? They have different last names.
Yeah. Or I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
It's
but I don't think they're married.
yeah.
But they're obviously together, and
they're
she
together and
she
they want-
wants kids,
Right.
which is advancing the relationship, and
Yeah.
he doesn't.
And not that like everyone should have kids or whatever. I just think that that's like a really cool.
It's 93.
Yeah, fair enough. I think in his situation, it's like she wants kids, and so he's like, I'm not respecting your wishes, or I don't even want to have a conversation. I don't know. Whatever. Look, the point is that he starts from this like grumpy place, and he gets forced into this situation where he has to take care of the kids on the island, and the way that arc is completed is beautiful.
I love that moment when she's like, the accountant ran away. It's like, he left us. Yeah. And he looks at her, he's like, I will not leave you.
That's
I'm
not
here with
what I'm
you.
gonna do. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's such a great moment.
But it's not the first progression of that arc. The first little visual that he's getting closer is the little girl, Lex, like stumbles, and then he helps her up. He just
Right,
like grabs her
right. and
picks her up. It's just like a little minute.
And then he
little
like tries
progression.
to pull his arm away, but she holds on.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I find a little bit of that characterization of him a little bit sloppy, I would say. Like, I don't like him, like, I don't like computers. And it's like, why not? Like, it's helping you do your job. Like, this is super helpful technology to you. Like,
Wait, what?
What's going on?
You don't see how somebody could like not be into
I don't know. It just feels like
newfangled technology? I mean, like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's like making what you do accessible to other people, so you're not so special anymore.
I think in his experience, he goes to like tap the screen and he breaks it. I feel like
Yeah.
he's probably one of these like clumsy people who
They're
has
93 computers. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're esoteric.
I more actually was rubbed a bit the wrong way of like how they demonstrate how he doesn't like kids. I'm like, he traumatizes that one boy. Like, that's a pretty intense thing.
Yeah.
And then like even
He goes
when, like,
overboard.
Or like it goes the other way where the girl grabs his hand. Like that scene, I found it just like, that's not how that would play. Like, it's a little bit weird how clingy the kids are so quick.
I think that, yeah.
I'm in nitpicks. Let's go back to positive land.
I was gonna wonder if you guys, or I was wondering if you thought that his speech to that kid about how raptors are badass and you should respect them. It's kind of hokey. It's kind of like overboard.
Oh, definitely.
But the movie is self-aware of that, and Sadler's like, you could have just pulled a gun on him. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I think it's overboard on purpose, and I think that
it characterizes him though.
Yeah,
we
for
know
sure.
he's an expert. And it also is one of these things that screenwriters do called the praise of the killer kind of speech. You see it a lot in horror movies, where, or basically lots of different movies where you have someone, let me tell you why the villain is formidable. Let me tell you what we're up against here.
Yeah.
And you actually get two of these in this movie. The first one's by him. The second one is a more traditional one. A lot of the time, you'll hear a speech like this come from a person who's already dealt with it.
Right.
So the quintessential example is Quint from Jaws. So I wasn't on the Jaws episode, but that guy's like archetype of this, where it's like, walking with like a peg leg. She's like, oh yeah, I've been up against this before. and in this movie, it's Muldoon, the Australian dude. And he's talking to Grant, and like, oh yeah, they're intelligent. They're like this. You do not want to fight these things.
Yeah, when those guys get together and start talking, I'm just like,
vibing.
oh yeah, these guys should be in charge right here. That scene with the kid, I think like it does go overboard, but as you say, I think it's doing double duty. I'm not thinking so much, like I am thinking in that moment, like, whoa, he's going a little overboard with this kid. But at the same time, a lot of people are coming to this movie for the dinosaurs. They want to see these crazy death-dealing creatures, and this scene is getting us stoked to see the Velociraptors.
He's got that claw.
Yeah, and like that I think that's the thing that I took away from that scene as a kid. I'm not thinking about, oh, Alan Grant doesn't like kids so much. I'm thinking, holy crap, the Velociraptors are badass, which is, I'm going to say this now, they don't exist, right?
They're like miniature poodle size.
Yeah, so Velociraptors existed, but they were chicken size.
Yeah.
Wait, whoa, they're that small?
They're really small.
Oh, I thought they were
super
like
tiny.
dog size.
They're small dog size.
So
Like
here's
a
the deal,
turkey.
though.
That's weak.
This is what's weird about Jurassic. I mean, it makes sense. There is a raptor who is like a Velociraptor, but it's called Deinonychus, and it's more like it's a little bit shorter than the raptors we see in the movie.
They're huge.
Yeah, but they are very, very similar, and their snout doesn't look as cool. The Velociraptor is so named because it's like fast, right? Fast raptor, and their just design looks awesome. So basically, the designers of Jurassic Park, they scaled up this Velociraptor chicken-sized dinosaur to be basically a Deinonychus but cooler. So that always bugged me.
That fossil, that kick-ass like 6-inch like moon crescent claw.
No, that's real.
But it's just too big.
Hold on, let me Google.
Like that would be like a fish hook.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that I really like in this movie. I think they do a good job with the like pseudoscience, making it believable. Like if you look it up, they got a lot of stuff about the dinosaurs wrong, but when you're watching this movie, it doesn't matter. You're
Crichton,
like, this is sweet.
Yeah, and Crichton's a pretty good sci-fi writer. Like the books are more about the genetics and stuff like that.
Well, and I was reading because I was curious. I'm like, is this possible? And it's like, there's absolutely no way, because in 1.5 million years, the DNA would be too deconstructed that you couldn't recover anything. So 65 million years, absolutely no way that you would be able to recover enough to make an animal. It doesn't matter though. It sounds realistic. It sounds believable when you're watching it.
You buy in. You completely buy in. That's all that matters.
So the Deinonychus did have like a crazy ass claw like that, but it wasn't so curved. Like it was a claw that sticks up, so they can like jab people with it. But yeah, it's not as crazy as in the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Also, their arms were rotated in like they were holding a ball.
Right. Well, we see the raptors do that in the movie.
A little bit. But normally they have kangaroo arms.
That's true, but they show them when they attack the T-Rex.
Yeah.
They go low and they put their arms forward and kind of like rush it like that.
And when they open the door handles, they just close their heads together.
Yeah, man.
This movie is one of these like rare like treats. Like, how can I make a movie that will just appeal to every human on Earth? Like, who on this planet doesn't want to see dinosaurs in real life from a safe distance? Like, that is just an amazing premise.
Yeah.
And we're lucky that it got executed in a way that's awesome. It would suck if this got ruined and had to be like redone by somebody.
Right.
But man, like if you can just strike gold like that.
It's kind of crazy because dinosaurs had shown up in film before, but this is really the first time that they were like rendered with this amount of detail into this level of sophistication, where you kind of actually believe that dinosaur is there.
Well, they're not stop motion.
It's not just like a guy in a suit.
Well,
or
it's
something.
totally right place, right time, where the technology finally was good enough.
Right.
But it's also Steven Spielberg being very aware of what he's putting out in the world, and he knows what works and what doesn't. He's not like kidding himself. Being like, yeah, that looks fine. He knew what could work, what didn't, and like he made great decisions for what should be animatronics and not.
Well, he wanted animatronics from the beginning.
Yeah.
But it was just because he wanted macro, like the whole animatronic entire huge dinosaurs. But then they were like, we can't afford that. And it just turned out they were able to show him some of the stuff they could do on computers at that time, and it was good enough.
Man.
Yeah, the animatronics in the movie are fucking incredible. Like the Triceratops one, that's like a 10 out of 10.
It really
animatronic.
looks,
Yeah.
it looks just completely realistic.
real.
Yeah.
The crew is coming off of the sequel to Aliens, and they had done The Queen, which is all pneumatic, and so that was the basis of it.
Yeah. That scene, like, even the way, well, like, it's a smart setup because he can't really move, so there's only a limited amount of motion that's possible, but the expression, the breathing, like, when he goes and, like, puts his ear on it and he sees it breathing, I'm like, this is real. That's like a real dinosaur.
The eye was really good. It's bloodshot.
Yeah. Man, there's so many shots of like the animals, the dinosaurs' eyes dilating when like light goes over them in this movie. Like when Lex is when they're trapped in the car and the T-Rex is like they're trying not to move because its vision is based on movement, which is also
Not true.
Not true, but
It's also annoying because it's like its head is inches away from you.
Yeah.
I don't care what it can see. It can smell you. It'll just eat you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, she moves the flashlight so it passes over its eyes and it's like dilates. I was like, that's so cool.
It's really cool. And
I
like
have
even
no
that
idea how they
T-Rex
do
scene,
that.
like they switch between the animatronic and the CG. But the animatronic's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Like when it's coming out, it's incredible.
There was one shot where the T-Rex is like the view is looking above, like from above the T-Rex down at the car, and you see the T-Rex's head kind of like judder, like shudder a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's on like a excavator or something.
reached its end.
Yeah, that was the one
Not
part.
necessarily. They actually had issues shooting that because of
yeah.
the rain. They didn't. They put the rain in as a later addition. They hadn't told the animatronics builders that they were going to have rain on the set, so it wasn't built to get wet. So when it got wet, the latex skin absorbed a bunch of water, making the whole animatronic way heavier, and that made the motors judder. And they, they had to do a ton of takes.
Fair.
They had
might
to
not be
hit
a
it
cat.
with blankets and towels to
my
try to dry it off.
That's so interesting.
That's hilarious. I mean, regardless, that was the only part in the whole movie though where I'm like, well, that's not true. Some of the animatronics, like the Dilophosaurus, I'm like, that's 100%. I can see the little robotic movements.
Yeah.
But there's only really those two shots where I was like, the illusion is shattered. The rest of it is like looks so good.
Well, I mean, animatronics by their nature have those limitations. Like the hatching scene is incredible, and it's like when he's first popping out, it looks so good, and then the more you see the dinosaur not really move much, you're I get it. It's a little animatronic. But it doesn't matter because like they're actually interacting with something tactile, and like even if they could do CG that looks almost as good, it doesn't sell as well because like the CG's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're just looking at a tennis ball or something, right?
exactly.
And you're trying to react to it.
A naked Josh Brolin or something.
You mentioned that the science.
Is that like an Infinity War reference?
Bullshit.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the science is like, okay, it wouldn't work with the genome or whatever, but I think the movie does a really good job of making you believe that it is.
100%.
Like, this is one of the only sci-fi movies where I don't ask that many questions about how the heck they did this and like, yeah, right, they did it. Because they explain it so clearly, and I'm like, oh, yeah, totally.
They kind of
when are we
over-explain-
going to get dinosaurs, you know?
I think the part of that is like right time, right place. There was not really a widespread use of the internet. And I think that if this movie came out today, instantly there would be like a million BuzzFeed articles being like, why Jurassic Park is stupid.
Right.
And then everyone would read it and be like, and internalize it and be like, yeah, I always thought that Jurassic Park was stupid.
Or they could go the other way.
Yeah,
Why
I don't know.
Interstellar? They used actual scientists. And, you know, they can go that
maybe
way.
they would try harder even. Because like
maybe they would
there are
change
obviously there are some things that I noticed on this rewatch where I was like, oh, I don't know about that. Like obviously the they implanted the embryos into like ostrich eggs or something.
That totally resonated
They're
with me
using
because
emu and ostrich eggs.
that's what they're doing today when they're like, oh, we can resurrect the dodo or we can resurrect mammoths. Like they literally can today. That's how they do it. If they want to resurrect a bird, they put it into a similar living bird, like a chicken egg.
But wait.
You got some TED Talks to watch,
No,
buddy.
no.
Shit's real.
No, but I was confused because wait, are they like fertilizing an emu with the?
Have you had sex before?
They build giant animatronic mammoths.
Do they do what I do and kind of
bring in an
squat
emu.
and then spray
What is going on?
like a salmon? No. I'm saying, did they take an egg that already existed? It came out of an emu. We didn't do anything with it. And then they like inject the DNA in it?
No, you got to do it earlier while it's in the emu.
While it's in the emu?
It has to be, the emu is pregnant with it, and then it would bloop, pop it out, and then it would hatch with the dino.
Because an emu lays an egg and it's unfertilized. Oh, right. That's how birds work.
Wait, what? Wait. Are you
No,
talking
wait,
about
that's not how
that's
all
how
birds-
fish work, man? What are you talking about?
No, that's how some birds
Are
work.
you saying some birds lay an egg that's just sitting there on the ground inert, and then another male comes by and goes,
Yeah, I
and
think
puts
so.
like some
I think
seed
that's
in
how
there?
some
This
of them
is
do it.
so unimportant.
Okay.
No, this is important.
Okay, you looked that up, but speaking of unimportant, I feel like the explanation of how all that works in the movie, like the Mr. DNA cartoon tour thing, that's way too long.
I agree. It's a little bit too long. I think if you're a kid, animation like that always is the stuff that appeals to you. Like, what was it? The Pink Panther. I hated that movie when I was a kid, but I love those animated intros.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And so, like, I think when you're a kid, it's a good little attention grab. You're like, cartoon. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Okay. All right. Birds have cloacas. They both have cloacas, and they just rub them together. Okay.
Okay.
And so that's how they do it. There's no fertilizing of. I was wrong. I was thinking of salmon because of the example I had already
So
given.
the egg comes out fertilized.
You know, birds were fish once. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I thought I had seen something like that.
Imagine it's just like kind of settling down, fluffing its
No,
feathers
wait.
up and squatting on an egg.
I'm pretty sure there's like at least one bird species that does that.
How would it permeate the shell? The shell's brittle. Okay, it doesn't matter.
It's when it's still soft.
Squishy eggs.
Oh, man.
All right, moving on. Anyways, yeah, I agree. The DNA guy was great. I'm a dinosaur or whatever.
I like how Malcolm says dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Oh man, his laugh in the helicopter.
Oh, that was creepy. It's like one of his first lines.
No, I love it, and I love his characterization so early on. He's getting to know these guys, and he goes and like slaps Hammond's leg.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that's whatever it is. He's talking. He slaps his leg, and Hammond's like, get off of me.
Don't do that.
I don't want a rock star.
Yeah, I love.
brought you
I mean,
scientists.
Jeff Goldblum's kind of a weirdo now.
Yeah.
And we're learning that he was kind of always a weirdo, but that weirdo energy
It's perfect.
brings a lot to this character.
I think he's the character I like the most in this movie.
For sure. It's nice to have little twists on things, you know? Like, he's a mathematician, well, rock star, you know? Like,
Yeah, which is weird. I was like, that's not a trope, but yeah, okay.
No, that's exactly it. It's better when it's not a trope.
Right,
It's
right.
better when it's like a twist on something.
But it was just weird.
He's
Like,
not
you
what you
bring
would
a rock star, I bring a scientist, you bring a rock star. And I was just like, I don't know.
I like
Well,
that,
he's
though.
got
You get
leather.
it. Because
No, I love his character.
It'd be really boring if he was another, like, very serious nerd character.
It's true.
Very similar to Sam Neill. Like, this is like...
He actually gets kind of sidelined in this movie. His leg gets hurt, and that's what, halfway through, and then he kind of just sits there the rest of the time.
That's
Yeah,
one
I
thing I
agree.
was struck by on this rewatch. I was like, oh, he basically does nothing.
I think it's because in our memories, we remember watching 1 and 2, and
Yeah.
he has got a...
Yeah.
He has more screen time in the
Sam
second
Neill
one,
doesn't
right?
come back, I don't think, right? So it's
not
just
for the
Jeff
second
Goldblum.
one. No.
I can't speak that I haven't seen it since childhood, but I remember Malcolm in a convertible in the city with a T-Rex.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum comes back for Lost World, the second one, and then Sam Neill comes back for Jurassic Park 3.
Have you guys seen the Pratt ones, like the
Yeah,
world ones?
they're
Yeah.
not very good.
They look so bad I didn't bother.
The first one's like, okay, it's fine. The second one is garbage.
I got.
Let me say, yeah, the first one's fine.
It's fine.
I will
It's just
say that
fine.
the trailer for the new one that comes out in like summer 2022, I'm actually kind of interested in.
Because Colin Trevorrow, who I think wrote and directed the first one, he's coming back for the third one.
No.
So he
He wrote and directed which one?
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World, the
Oh, okay.
first one with Chris Pratt and Howard. What's her name?
Bryce
Dallas.
Dallas
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Howard. We each added one name to that name.
Someone help me here. Yeah, the first one was good, and
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
his. It was his script, and he directed it, I think. And he got taken off the second one for some reason.
Well, he was going to do Star Wars.
He was gonna do Star Wars, and he wrote a script that would have been way better for episode 9. But whatever, that's a different episode and of the podcast. And now he's coming back, and so I'm excited.
I like the premise of in the trailer. It shows basically like the first dinosaurs born in America. Like now it's a whole new way of life. There's no Jurassic Park. It's not on an island. It's actually now humans just live with dinosaurs, and our society's collapsing. It's more like Planet of the Apes style.
Yeah.
That looks kind of intriguing.
I gotta say that.
And Jeff Goldblum's back.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, whatever. he had like a little cameo in the second one, I think, and it was like, why did you do this?
For $10 million.
Yeah, it was like this stupid nostalgia bait nonsense.
Is that a real figure? Or you
No,
just...
not a real figure.
Okay.
Probably
I was
for
just
a lot.
watching Dirty Dancing 2, and Patrick Swayze's in about for 45 seconds, and he got $5 million in like 1990.
Oh God.
Why are people so dumb? Anyways, what I was saying is that watching those new movies, I'm like, okay, these are kind of these feel like a Disney-fied, chew it up and spit it out kind of like commercialized, formulaic blockbuster. And it made me sad because I was like, oh man, I remember the first Jurassic Park movies having such magic. And watching this through for the first time in a while, I was like, there's the magic. Like this movie does not, it's almost like, to me, it's like it's a tier above the rest of the franchise. Like they made this movie and it's a great movie beyond the dinosaurs, right? But now the franchise is degraded to the point where you go see a Jurassic World movie and you're only going to see that movie because of the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
You're not like, oh, I'm interested in the story.
This one has a bunch of grace notes and like wholesomeness to it because it is a dichotomy between being a kids movie and being a horror movie. And that's some criticism I've seen. I've seen reviews online that said that this was kind of like, it should have been a horror movie, but then because they wanted a PG rating, they just neutered it. But I don't agree with that. And I also I spoke to a personal friend. I was like, what's your take on this movie? He said, I was just always pissed off whenever you equip a bunch of dudes with shotguns. I want to see the shotguns get used. This was like, that was bullshit. There's not enough blood and gore in this movie. But I disagree with the first person that this movie got neutered or something. To me, it's in its DNA that it was always going to be like a 4-quadrant, fun for all ages movie.
Right.
And part of that is because of Grant's arc, which is a wholesome family-based kind of arc. Because I remember David told me something I never clued in on when in the past, which was in a lot of Disney movies or Pixar movies, the arc will have, the main character or the story will have to do with like being an orphan or something about your parents. Yeah. And because it's for kids and kids can relate, you know, they all have that aspect of their life. Maybe they haven't fallen in love yet, so it can't be a love story. So give them something they can relate to. And in this movie, the main character, arguably the protagonist's arc is about family.
Sure. Yeah. And like becoming a father, like accepting that. I mean, okay, we can criticize it from like the societal perspective of like you should be a father or whatever. But he is presented with this opportunity and he is recoiling from it, probably for not the most healthy reasons, not because he like is an anti-natalist or something. He's just like grumpy, you know, and he has to have these experiences with kids to teach him this lesson. And I'm glad you brought the arc back up because I wanted to talk about how it is sort of brought to fruition. It's brought to its endpoint. He is forced in this situation with the kids, and through various encounters, he reassures Lex, I'm not going to leave. And then he goes and rescues Tim from the car in the tree, which is also something I want to talk about. But he demonstrates his capability for fatherhood there. And he leads them safely through the wilderness. But before that, the arc kind of completes early. They stay in the tree overnight, and they're like, oh, what are you going to do if you don't have to dig dinosaur bones up anymore? And he's like, I guess we'll just have to evolve too. And he's holding the claw in his hand, and that's the moment when he throws the claw away. And I'm like, whoa, the symbolism here is so great because it's like, he's throwing the claw away because he doesn't need it anymore because they're not going to need to dig up dinosaurs anymore. They're real dinosaurs. He's also throwing it away because it was like a physical thing that was like in the way. But he's also like, it represents his progression from this prior state of being to his current state of being, which is I'm protecting these kids. I've accepted my role. I am going to accept progress.
I no longer need to have this claw with which I scare children.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's no longer using it to attack. He's using it to protect. To bring the meme into it.
Most important.
Yeah, and I just think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's great.
Yeah, well, I guess the other part of his like outer journey is like, what is he there to do? What is the dramatic question of the movie? It is, will these scientists sign off on the park? And so that completes when he gets in the car with Hammond near closer to the end, and he's like, I don't sign off on I don't endorse your park. He just says it, right?
Which is interesting
like
because I think you could easily take that as confusing the theme. If the theme is, can humanity control nature, or is progress always good? Is what we call progress actually progress? And if you're saying that's the theme, then it's confused because in one area, Grant accepts the idea of progress, of like being a father. He's progressing in that way. But in the other, he says, no, this is like this whole experiment that Hammond was trying to go with, where the untested limitation of humanity is, the potential of humanity is being tested through our like ability to control chaos. On that front, he says, no, that's bad.
Well, it's not always the case that every character's arc is a different angle or tack on the theme, like explore from a different perspective. That's ideal. It's not always the case. So if you find that they're contrary or you have to really do some gymnastics to make it all dovetail together, then maybe it's just one of the movies where they don't.
Yeah, they didn't nail that.
It doesn't bother me at all, because I think that a movie with a complex ending like this is good, where it's not telling you 100% what to think, but it is saying, look at all these things, you know? It's kind of like, I mean, I guess I'm saying the opposite of what I said in the Fight Club episode, where I'm like, there should be a third way. But I think that the movie does show you a clear way that is good, which is him like learning to take care of kids. And I think that is a learning that he has the capacity, and that it like he actually likes taking care of kids. So I think that is like a clear thing to being like, this is good. While at the same time, allowing you to think through the idea of progress and the idea of humanity's hubris, you know? Hammond represents the opposite.
Yeah.
Does Hammond have a real arc?
Hammond definitely has an arc.
Yeah, and it closes at the scene where he's eating the ice cream.
Yeah, I don't really.
Spared no expense.
I guess I don't really feel it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I feel like he's just like a little bit misguided, and he kind of clues into that it's not working. I don't feel like he has like a huge personal growth. He's just like, this thing I tried didn't really work.
I think that Hammond's arc is, I think you're right, because he's not really the protagonist.
No.
He's definitely an important character, but I think he kind of serves as a foil to Grant, where Grant is going through this journey, and where he's like, I don't like progress. I don't like this
I think
future
Grant's
thing.
in the middle. On one end of the spectrum is Hammond. On the opposite end of that spectrum is Malcolm.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then Grant's
Okay.
in the, Grant's in
I
the
can
middle.
go with that.
And the one aspect of Hammond's, the way he reckons with the whole situation is the fact that it's his flesh and blood who are at risk. It's his grandkids are the ones that are in danger right now. So that really helps.
I think that's definitely the catalyst for him. One of the catalysts for him, like realizing that this is not a great thing to do. But you could kind of put Malcolm and Grant on one side and him on the other, where they're like distrusting of this new progress, and Hammond is like naive, even though he's an old guy. He's like, oh, technology's great. Like, isn't this amazing? Look what humans can accomplish. And he kind of learns that it's only humans can accomplish these things, and they're great when we can control them. But can we control nature?
Well, if you do a little bit better park planning, maybe.
David,
They just planned a really bad park.
what parts of the movie are, you said it was kind of a snooze fest. Which parts are where it lulls for you? So, I mean, I'm sure we can all agree when they're climbing the electric fence, or when they're falling through a tree with the Jeeps, or the T-Rex attack. Those are all awesome moments. They're the moments, looking back as a kid, they're like the only moments in this movie.
Yeah.
But what are the parts that are like...
I think it's pretty interspersed. I think the problem for me is that although the movie does a good job clearly delineating what the characters are, or what defines them, there's none that I really like. I like Jeff Goldblum and I like Newman, but everyone else...
I like the evil character.
I think liking is the wrong word.
Okay.
I think he's very...
You find it interesting.
very well rounded in terms of like as a evil
Gray
goofy villain.
A gray character.
Sure.
Yeah. But like Sam Neill's character, I think is really boring. I find Laura Dern's not super well defined. I don't like the kids at all.
Right.
Hammond, I don't like, and so I find that the moments where the stakes are really high and it's life and death, I totally get why for other people this works and it's so thrilling. For me, I'm just like, like if they die, okay.
What
And,
do you think
I
is
don't
like?
know.
What do you think is? Because I feel like one of my complaints about the movie is that Malcolm is sort of undercooked. Like he serves a very important thematic purpose in that he is a chaos theorist.
He gets all the philosophical bits that Riley's
Yeah.
just talking about. He's basically the agent for bringing that stuff up.
Right. He's like he's reminding the audience that, hey, this is really cool that we have a dinosaur park, but they're freaking dinosaurs and we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Ethical
And
quandaries.
Everything that can happen will. And
But then
your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could do something, they didn't stop to think about whether they should.
But then that time is over, and now action.
Yeah,
Action movie
and now
time.
he's injured and he's on the sidelines for like the last half of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's kind of lame. I think that that's kind of just an undercooked aspect of that character, because I think they could have done interesting things with him where like his cynicism comes back and either saves him or works the other way.
Yeah.
But I think that it's less that his character is written so well, more that Jeff Goldblum occupies that character with such charisma that it fleshes it out more than like Sam Neill's great. Laura Dern's a great actor, but I think that those characters like they don't fully expand what the written part of that character is into something that I really like.
I didn't think you were going to say all that. I thought you were going to have a different answer. And I thought I was going to be like, well, here's why. Because I have my
Let
own
me give my response to your imagined initially.
I thought it was going to be about pacing because it was kind of a weird movie.
A little bit.
Because on the one hand, it's like a monster in the house kind of archetype story. Where like the house in this case is the whole island and the monsters are the dinosaurs. And it's pretty set up from these praise of the killer speeches we talked about that the raptors in particular are the adversary. But there's all these weird things where, we see dinosaurs when they first get to the island with the brontosauruses, but then we do a lot of Riley talking for a while about ethical things. and then we don't meet the kids who are main characters until 38 minutes.
Wait, main characters?
The kids are main characters.
Yeah, not the main characters.
No, they're not.
Sam Neill's
but
probably
they are among main characters, and we don't meet them until 38 minutes.
That's an important element for that fourth quadrant, for that children quadrant, because until then, there's no one for them to be like, I am that person.
And it's interesting to me because usually the rule kind of is like you should be introducing all the characters who are going to be important in the first like 15 minutes or something like that.
Well, I'm interested because I'm sure there's a breakdown where this movie breaks down neatly into like the 30-minute like first act, 60-minute second act, 30-minute third act, but it feels like the second act starts like 45, 50 minutes
Well, this is what I'm saying, because if you think of it from the monster in the house, that's what this movie is, then Act 1 doesn't end until they are in the Jeep and fighting the T-Rex. That's when you finally have all the characters are in place, and there's a storm, so there's like an obstacle and stakes, and a hero obstacle stakes.
But did you find that boring? Like, did you find that makes the movie boring a bit?
No, and here's why. Because that you do not go to this movie. The promise of the premise is not people fighting dinosaurs. The promise of the premise is people seeing dinosaurs and interacting with dinosaurs, and therefore the end of Act 1 is actually as soon as they go to the island, and the promise of the premise is delivered much earlier than these kids arriving and the T-Rex attacking. It's delivered as soon as they see the brontosaurus, which is early enough to keep us interested. But they still set up the danger of the monster in the house, even when the helicopter ride, because it's a harrowing helicopter ride where everyone hold on, we have to drop, faster than we want to land, and it's because the island is danger.
Right.
And so they plant that seed.
We're entering its atmosphere.
So you're kind of willing to put up with all this stuff, even it ends up being a monster movie like way on down the line.
I think
because we're so interested in like what if you could see dinosaurs that we're willing to put up with this is the explanation of how they're trapped in amber and all of that.
It's kind of like this whole like the destination isn't important, it's the journey or whatever. It's the teasing is more fun than the reveal.
Yeah.
Well, the reveal is great, but once the reveal is over, what are you gonna do? Just keep revealing and revealing and revealing? It's like teasing.
This is exactly what you're talking about with the sequels.
Yeah.
Every sequel,
exactly.
You only have the monster in the house.
It hasn't gotten to that same level, and I think they try a little bit with these new ones by like having these evolved, like we genetically engineered like Indominus Rex and stuff. Like they have like
Super
new dinosaurs
T-Rexes,
that didn't actually exist. That they
the
genetically engineered.
The power creep. Even in the third original movie, it's like this. It's bigger than a T-Rex and has a fin on it. You're like
T-Rex times a million
with the Spinosaurus. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because every time they do this, it's like, oh, it's a bigger, badder dinosaur, but it's basically the same as the T-Rex. Yeah. It's just scary.
They got pterodactyls in that one though.
In Jurassic Park 3. Yeah.
Oh, and the megalodon too that comes out of the water.
Yeah.
That's Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Weird kind of abrupt ending in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, what? I yelled out loud. I was like, what do you mean that's the end?
Well, to me, I feel like it starts earlier because like I think that the T-Rex coming in is such a weird climax. Like it's such a like Deus Rex Machina where it's just like it feels so unearned.
Yeah,
and I find it so unsatisfying because like I think the scene with the kids escaping the Velociraptors, that's a great scene in the kitchen, and like they're finally smart enough to figure out how to escape it, and the girl's like kind of overcome her fear and is like using her wits to survive.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, they just kind of get lucky. And I'm
Right.
like, that kind of sucks that that's the climax of the movies. They just get lucky.
But I think that, well, okay, I agree with you on some level. That bothers me. I think that if the movie had a slightly more earned ending and like a bit more of a denouement where I didn't feel like it was so sudden, this might be a 9 or something. But I think that the ending is one of those things that brings it down a little bit for me because of those things you mentioned. And I forgot I was going to say something else.
Well, that's good because I actually want to push back on that a little bit because we're not following characters. Like these kids are not the protagonists, and it's not part of their arc that they increase in competence throughout the movie. It's true that the girl is afraid a lot of the movie, and then she gets to be a hacker and kicks some ass at the end. Yeah. But it's not
Unix? This is a Unix system.
You see how weird she held
I know this.
The mouse? It was like 3 fingers
I have
off.
definitely used a computer before.
And how the file system is spatial and graphical, so the audience can like, look, this little building represents where the files are. Okay, anyway, that's not. We're not watching someone who has to. They have to fair. They have to beat the dinosaurs in order for their arcs to be closed. Yeah. Instead, it actually just carries on and pounds in the theme, which is we're looking at the T-Rex in the lobby of the fucking amusement park with the banner falling down. Yeah. And like it's a great over. Shot. Yeah. It is over. This dream is done. Experiment failed.
I remember now. That was what my point was going to be. Is that like nature? Oh, this whole movie is an experiment about whether can we control nature. Is all progress good? Turns out it's not, and this is how you know because the T-Rex.
But as far as them being in the helicopter and just rolling credits, I'm just like, what?
Yeah, that came out of nowhere, and I was actually also irritated. Because I was like, what is this? What are these last shots with Grant looking out the window of the helicopter and seeing the birds flying away? Did you guys did that make sense to you?
No.
Kind of. I thought it was just about like, I don't know. It was like a relief. They're back into like the world as it should be or something.
So this shot is one of, this shot is one of the things that makes me respect this movie more as not just like a fun blockbuster because I heard I watched a Wisecrack video where they were breaking down this movie and a screenwriter talked about Grant's arc, and which made me think about it more, and that's why I'm like so into it. But one of the things he said about that last shot is that it's a bird. Dinosaurs turned into birds. Just like Grant has progressed from being this initial form to this later form and accepting that progress is good, he must, the dinosaurs like... The time of the dinosaurs is over. They turned into birds and that's what they are now. So like accept this change that you've gone through. I was like, whoa, if that's what it was. And I'm like, I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Well, it's intentional.
Yeah,
Spielberg. We're looking at these pelicans for a while.
Yeah, and I'm like, if that's what that was, I'm like, oh, that's great. I love that. But like, I did not get it.
What bothers me though is that there's something that actually improved upon in the third movie, which is they're flying away, and then
it's a pterodactyl.
There's pterodactyls in the air, and that is a sweet setup for the next one. You're like, shit, the dinosaurs have left the island.
It's interesting because that's a cool setup for the next movie, but at the same time, it doesn't carry the same significance.
No.
I mean, I guess
totally different thing. But
I mean, it kind of does. I guess if the theme in this, I haven't seen the second one in a while, but if the theme there is also
this is the third one I'm talking about.
Oh. Wait, what's in the second one? I thought there people are flying away in the second one too.
I don't
remember.
The
humans grow wings. It's pretty crazy, man.
But what annoys me,
evolve.
I don't know, like Grant comes upon these eggs and he's like, oh no, they are breeding in the wild. But that's so far from the ending that it's just kind of like they put that in there to set up some kind of sequel or to prove that Malcolm's right or something. But it's just kind of, it just seems placed like at random. He could have found those eggs at any point in the movie. It's not like, it's not bringing us to the ending.
I think that's the point at which shit is starting to hit the fan. Like they're stuck in the wilderness. Everything has gone wrong. Their vehicle's trashed, and now they have to basically go back to this primitive state of being, working their way through the jungle towards escape. And so I think that's kind of just like another. It's a signifier. It's a in the movie of like, things are going wrong. You can't control things.
It's a build up toward the T-Rex in the lobby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess my pushback on that is that I feel like the movie doesn't do a convincing job of being like, these people are really doing what they could do to stop nature or to fight nature.
Right.
I'm like, these people are incompetent.
For sure.
They've set up a stupid park. They're like, it's impossible for them to breed. 30 minutes later, they fucking breed.
Yeah, the scientist is so confident.
So
He's like,
confident.
you're telling me a female and
I
female?
get that's part of the theme. It's like the hubris of science, of progress. But I just feel like the park isn't so well thought out that I'm like, I see the flaws. I see why this isn't going to work. Like having an electric fence that has no backup generator, like, that's pretty fucking stupid. Like, have something local that'll kick in. Like, there's a lot of security things, and I'm just like, nature didn't win against mankind. They won against idiots.
Right.
So
I think that I mean, okay, so there's a couple of responses. First of all, I agree. I think that the movie could like do that a lot better, and that was one of the criticisms I have of the movie, where particularly in the Triceratops getting sick scene.
Yeah.
So like they have this kind of subplot about dinosaurs getting sick. There's a Triceratops, and later when they're in the tree, the kid's like, "Oh, this Brachiosaurus looks sick," and he sneezes on the girl. Great, gross out Nickelodeon moment. Everyone loves it. But we're like, wait, why are these dinosaurs getting sick? And they never really answer that in the movie. Do you know the answer from the screenplay, James?
Well, I can guess from just the movie.
Go. What is it?
Well, to me, it's like because they're not fully comprehending the ecosystem they're creating. You know, just like Sattler says, like you're taking these plants because you think they look cool, but you have no idea how they interact with these animals. That could be a lot. Like Stegosaurus is as far apart from T-Rex as T-Rex is from the pyramids or something like that.
Yeah. So that's the high level kind of overarching explanation from bird's eye view, and the specific explanation is that the Triceratops and I guess the Brachiosaurus as well, they like birds, they have gizzards, and so they eat rocks to break down food. And the rocks,
like you don't have stomach acid. You rely on mechanical motion to break down your food.
So every 6 weeks the stones get smooth, and then they need new ones. So they spit them up and eat new rocks, and the rocks are close to the toxic berries, and so that's why they get sick every 6 weeks. But this is why I'm bringing it up, because it's a criticism of mine, because I'm like, whoa, okay, that's kind of a complicated whole thing to like have in the movie and then not fully explain.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's in the book.
So it is in the book, and there was a deleted scene where they fully explain it, and they got rid of it, I guess, because it's just like boring. But it was weird to me that was one criticism I had, where it's like there's this sick subplot, and I had to Google after. I'm like, wait, what was up with the dinosaurs being sick? They didn't address that really. So yeah,
but at least it's they remove that kind of stuff. You know, this scene sucks. Let's remove it. And if we remove it, is it still gonna work? And clearly, it worked.
Right. It does work, but I think it leads to this criticism where we're like, these park staff don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, if we can watch it and be like, well, obviously they did this and this and this and this wrong. Yeah. They should have gotten there first.
They also have this agent inside who's like screwing it up. Like, it would have never have gone that wrong if they didn't have someone who intentionally breaking it.
For sure. I just think that like the one of my criticisms is the park doesn't feel fully realized. Like, there's 6 people running this whole park. Like, it's not a real place. It's not a real potential amusement park. Like, there's thousands of people that need to be there to make it work. And I think that the movie being a movie is limited, and it just the scope of it feels totally artificial to me.
It does. Yeah. And I think that's a criticism of all the movies in the franchise too. After this, they can't really get rid of this problem where we are just supposed to take it for granted that this theme park exists, and there was this vast infrastructure. Like, in almost every movie, they're like, oh, there's this other island where we tried it first, and then we're like, nope, that didn't work. So we leave it abandoned, and there's still a bunch of dinosaurs there.
Yeah,
that happens so many times. It's like, how much resources, how many things do you have in the background that we didn't see? Like, you should show us this stuff. You know,
even as simple as like, why are they retail cars that are just going to be modified to be electric and on a track? Like that's stupid to have these Ford
Product
Explorers.
Placement.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just silly where I think like they missed an opportunity to do like a little bit of world building with how that car looks. Like, it's specifically designed to be against dinosaurs and move maybe a little bit faster than 1 mile an hour. And like,
also, since we're getting into nitpick territory here.
Hey, wait a second.
Those Jeeps are just not connected to that rail.
No,
they're not.
There's just nothing.
They're not.
What the hell?
They're all electric. They follow this rail. I'm like, how?
There's multiple angles. I'm like, maybe I just don't see it from this angle.
There's just like one skinny little thing that comes down from the. It's cable.
Do you see it?
No. I'm just
you don't. That's what I assume.
I'm memeing right
but
now.
It's literally not on set. Like, you don't see it.
It's a huge problem.
Like, why have it be a full mechanical car if it can only go on the track anyway? Like, I always expect, I'm like, oh, they're gonna take it off and like only have a certain amount of battery or something. Yeah. But like, what's the point? Why are they spending like $40,000 on these cars that are just like a little fucking cart? Like, it's so stupid.
Because hubris.
You're right.
They were like,
we spare no expense.
We can control nature. I mean, okay, so like, as long as we're on this hubris thing, I think the movie, like it seems kind of like a subtle thing because they don't really address it that much. It's the overarching theme of the whole thing. But they have that conversation where Malcolm, they're watching the what are they watching? Triceratops, or they're looking for a dinosaur and it's not showing up in the pen. One of them,
the spitting one.
Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, Dilophosaurus.
And Malcolm is like, God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. What happens?
Dinosaur eats man.
Man kills
No,
God.
God kills dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs. And then Sattler is like, dinosaurs eat man. Woman inherits the earth.
I love that.
And so like it's an interesting idea because it addresses this hubris thing of like, okay, and we talked about this a little bit in the Fight Club episode where in the absence of this higher power or this like overarching structure for how society should be or what we should do, man is taking these risks and taking these like testing the boundaries. It's like, okay, wait, we don't have these constraints on what we can do anymore. Let's do everything and anything, you know? And I think that's an interesting idea that the movie struggles with or puts forward as the main question. And I think it's great. And and I think the movie could do a lot better in sort of saying that, hey, men are taking this seriously, though, in terms of like the scientists, like kind of completely overlooking.
That conversation happens though, because Malcolm is like, you know, you didn't earn this knowledge. You just took the work of geniuses and you made the next step, and then you commercialized it as soon as you could.
But I thought that wasn't a fair criticism.
Isn't that exactly what you're saying? And then Hammond says, well, no, we did try. Like,
do you think there was other people doing it? Like, I thought this was cutting edge research.
Yeah, but that's why I thought that wasn't a fair criticism of Malcolm to make, because he's like, you're just standing on the shoulders of giants, and it's like, well, they clearly did new science that hasn't been done before. So I don't know.
There's some like Russian labs.
But his point is that they're getting it out there into the world before they've like really proven it and seen. You know, tested it.
But it's not really the world. Like, they're bringing in experts to judge and see
feel it out. That's because the board was like, that's only because of the opening scene of the movie that guy dies.
Yeah, that's
if that wasn't happening, they're opening it right away, right? It's just like our society is based on growth, not resilience, just like COVID-19 showed, right? It's like, oh, just don't fund that little department over there that make sure we don't all die in the event of emergency. Like, because we could imagine a parallel universe where we make sure like 20% of GDP just goes into resilience, and we just have all this extra stuff. There's just bunkers full of stuff. Yeah. But instead, we're just like, no, standard of living and growth. That's all we care about.
I think that's totally fair, and I do agree. I think there's like a really strong theme in that where like we have to examine our need for growth. I just think that this movie falls a little bit short. Like, I feel like it's like a pro-Christianity movie where it's like,
what?
See how silly science is? Like, look, science is so irresponsible. And I'm like, that's not what science is looking like. And
I thought it was kind of like a pro-environmentalism movie.
A little
where
bit.
It's like,
or conservationism.
Yeah, where nature is this well, it's dangerous, first of all, but it's also something that we don't and can't understand. And we're like the hubris of trying to take over the earth and control it. We should like just hold on a second.
That's a religious idea too. Like, that's
for
like,
sure,
submit to nature because God created nature.
That's not true. A lot of the viewpoints of Christianity is we dominate nature.
Yeah, it's control the earth. It was there
we're stewards of the earth, though. Like, we can't, like, like God created things as they are, so you should leave them as they are.
Like, you're talking about two different schools in Christianity now. You know, there are Christian environmentalists, and there are Christians who think that we should pollute the rivers.
But more like on a biological level, that like we should leave things as God made them because that's how God made them. Yeah, but like, especially biologically.
I get what you're saying, and I think that there is, particularly now in Christianity, and in religion in general, I guess, a sort of move towards, hey, environmentalism is important. God gave us the earth to steward, so we should like take it seriously. But I think that historically, for sure, the attitude has been more like, this was given to us to do with as we see fit. Like, we are supposed to go out there and colonize the earth and like do whatever.
Yes,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that like but I mean, I guess that's such a modern idea, the ability to change nature, not just dominate it.
Right.
Because this isn't just about dominating nature; it's about changing nature.
Yeah.
It's about playing God.
It's about
and
harnessing it.
Yeah,
and controlling it in that way. Yeah. I don't think it really fits neatly into either one of those kind of boxes.
How about some nitpicks? I got some.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually so mad in the T-Rex scene when the girl has the flashlight and she's
Yeah.
I'm like, not
is
even the stupidest little kid
Yeah.
would do that. That is just like against
Yeah.
your primal instincts. You stand still and try not to get noticed.
Yeah.
Shine a light. Yeah.
Not a being on this earth would be like, how about I take something really bright and shine it in its eye? That
Yeah.
would just never happen.
and she keeps doing it too.
And her little brother is like, shut the fuck up.
Yo, but these are kids raised on CD-ROMs. They definitely
It's an interactive CD-ROM.
They definitely have ADHD, and they are not sitting
I
still.
just realized that when she gets in the Jeep and says, oh, it's an interactive CD-ROM, that sets up her as a hacker later.
That's so funny.
That's awesome.
tidy.
Okay, that makes me feel better because when she's like, "This is a Unix system," I understand this. I was like, "Where did that come from?" All
Yeah,
of a
it's
sudden?
not built up enough.
No,
They need another scene.
Yeah, that
Now-
scene was so
Now the
frustrating.
nitpick, I mean, and they could have just dealt with this one, but they didn't. There's a Jeep stuck in the tree. It's coming down at us. We got to get down this tree really fast, but not go sideways.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Tell me something. There's no branches over there. Make them try to go sideways. They can't go sideways.
Dude, I didn't even think about that at all in that scene.
Are you kidding
Oh,
me?
really?
The
No,
whole
but
time I was just
there-
like smashing my
Fair enough,
head.
there is roots though that kind of like line where they going, so they might not be able to get out of the way because the roots are in
No,
the
but
way.
I'm sure it's plausible
I'm
that there's
saying-
just no
Yeah,
good
but
branches on that side of the
That's
tree.
annoying in movies when like a big thing's toppling over and then they just run this way instead of going 3 feet this
Run
way.
lengthwise?
Yeah.
Like,
Instead of perpendicular.
yeah. There's another axis of movement.
No, I'm on a
Literally
roller
a
coaster.
one-dimensional character.
In that scene, I did not think about that at all. But now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh, absolutely. But what I wrote about that scene is a good. It's not a good. What's the opposite? What's the opposite of a nitpick?
Hit pick.
Hit pick. And hit pick is that scene is one of the most exciting like set pieces in a movie about dinosaurs. The most exciting, one of the most exciting pieces of a car falling through a tree instead of like a T-Rex eating something. I was like, nice job, Spielberg.
I gotta say, the design of those Jeeps is fucking sick.
Yeah?
I would drive one right now.
Have you seen them? Have you seen? There's one in Vancouver that's.
Oh, I want it.
You can get the decals and stuff. You
That's
must be able to
sick.
because there's a Jeep in Vancouver that has all the bright paint and all the decals on the side. Looks like a Jurassic Park.
I'm
Jeep.
so
Dude,
down.
you can buy the skin in Rocket League.
The font is so good.
Yeah.
I really like the opening. Even when you're seeing like the Universal Studios marquee, you already have these like bug sounds, these
Yeah.
rainforest sounds. It's like putting you in the mood without needing an opening
Totally,
credits
yeah.
thing. And then you see that font and you're like, was that just like a generic Safari font or did they just like,
They probably
is it
built
completely
it.
original?
I don't know.
Because it's so iconic.
Some
great.
graphic designer out there, please let us know.
All you
Yeah.
need to do is put a little squiggly in the middle.
I think to that point, I think the movie is like so thick with atmosphere, and like in
Yeah.
every scene.
Hold on, pause. I have a good joke here, Riley. If you take that squiggly out of the Jurassic Park font, all you're left is the Greek restaurant font.
Oh,
Absolutely.
boy.
They
Yeah,
should-
it's pretty close.
All right, atmosphere.
All the dinos were Greek.
Yeah.
What are you doing on an island? I can't do a Greek accent. I'm sorry. Moving on.
Yeah, I think that they do a good job investing into the atmosphere and like even the world building a little bit. Like when Newman, what's his character's name?
Dennis.
Dennis Nedry.
When he's meeting with the corporate spy, and they do like a little bit of world building. They kind of give you a little bit of the village that they're in.
Yeah.
And it's like it could be anywhere, it could be anything, but like it just every scene in the movie they're doing a little bit to like really make this place feel lived in and real.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
I-
Even the
I-
jungle stuff. It
I
just like
felt
it's a
like-
set, but it feels like
It's
they
true.
thought about it.
Yeah. Everything looks so good.
It's a hit pick.
Um,
Here's a nitpick.
Oh.
Where do they get the DNA for the plants?
I was wondering about that.
That shit's been extinct.
Vegetarian mosquitoes.
That's a great question. They never addressed that.
No. And
I
that's
mean, I guess they were
fine,
just like
whatever.
found a new DNA extraction technique for plants. No,
It might be in the book.
It might be in the
It might
book.
be the book.
Maybe.
Have
Yeah.
you noticed? I'm pretty sure the little girl Lex in this movie, isn't she one of those people who's always in the thumbnail images for those, those websites at the bottom of when you scroll to the bottom of an article and it's like, where are they now?
Oh yeah.
Like dead actors or something.
Some like meth.
Yeah.
I saw
adult face.
Which child actor's on meth now? It's always her. It's like, I don't know what her life's actually
I
like,
don't
but
know. I
she's
hope
in the
it's good.
thumbnail.
I hope it's good.
When I searched up Jurassic Park to like look at background stuff or whatever, she was on one of those thumbnails and it's like, where are they now? And it's like her in a bikini as an adult.
my
I'm like,
God.
okay.
I hate that. Whatever plugin has the same advertisements that it's always like a beautiful like model or
Yeah.
something. And you're like, why? No.
It's like, do we need to put a little girl in the
next
thumbnail?
to
Yeah,
a bikini
let's
girl?
move on.
Did you
Yeah.
notice this really weird, this thing, it sounds like someone said this as a joke and they kept it in the movie. They're in the theater watching like the DNA kind of thing. And the lawyer, he says to Hammond, he's basically asking, are these animatronic? And Hammond's like, no, there's no animatronics things in the park at all. But he actually says, are these characters autoerotica?
Yeah.
He does. I was like, what? And I like rewounded.
Yeah.
No, that was great.
It's a funny joke, but it's
Yeah.
a little bit too silly. Like, it's a little bit like, he knows what autoerotica
I mean, I think
is.
that lawyer character, we didn't talk about him at all,
Yeah.
but like, I think
He's a little
bit.
slapstick, I guess.
Yeah, he's basically there for like jokes.
Yeah, and he's funny. Like, he gets a good couple laughs.
Yeah.
Like, I love when he sees the dinosaurs and he's like, we're going to make so much
Yeah,
fucking money.
he's like completely unlikable in
Yeah.
the sense that he's like, oh, we're gonna shut this park down. I'm gonna blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he sees the dinosaurs, he's like, okay, what are we charging? Like 10,000 a
Yeah.
day. The scene where he's like in the car with the kids, and the guy Tim discovers the night vision goggles.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, are they heavy?
Yeah.
And he's like, yes. And he's like, then they're expensive. Put them back. It's like, okay, we're just not supposed to like this guy.
Yeah.
Which is also why when he gets eaten, I'm like, meh.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of a hit pick, I guess, overall. I love how they straddle that line. This is a movie about flesh-eating horrible monsters, and multiple people get eaten alive, but we don't see, like, there's some blood. Like, we see Arnold's arm
Yeah.
in the bunker
That
or
was
whatever.
too scary when I was a kid. I had
Larissa
to
saw
watch
that and she's like, that's so hokey and lame. That looks awful.
oh, when I was a
Oh, really?
5-year-old, that was too much, though.
It looked pretty real.
It doesn't look that real. He's like really
When the
shiny.
arm first goes down, you're like, that's
it's
a guy's
weird
arm.
reaction, though, that she's like, oh, wow, thank you. Like, she's so comforted by this
Yeah,
arm.
she would be like, ah!
Yeah,
it,
like, it
it
doesn't matter
wouldn't
if it's
feel
an arm.
human and living. It'd be like,
Yeah.
what is this
a bit of
cold
weight.
thing on
Yeah,
me?
on my
For sure. But yeah, I appreciated how they straddled that line, because I was like, this is a perfect. It's like a horror movie and a PG movie. It's great.
And like James was saying, like it's hard to make a movie that appeals to 4 quadrants, and like this nailed it. It's like a monumental blockbuster
Yeah.
in terms of like broad appeal.
It
Like,
was
it's
the
fucking
record
insane.
holder, I believe, until Titanic.
I believe it.
Okay, nitpick, the lysine contingency. So they mentioned at one point in the movie that they supply all the dinosaurs with the amino acid lysine, because without it, it's a fundamental amino acid that they all need, and without it, they would slip into a coma and die. But in reality, no animal on Earth creates their own lysine. They all have to get it from food.
Oh.
So the dinosaurs are no different from regular animals in that regard, and it's a weird thing to put in the movie.
Yeah.
In the book, the dinosaurs do escape from the island, and they just get their lysine from the things that everyone else gets it from. It lists chicken and soybeans particularly, but like you can get the amino acid from anything.
Yeah.
You're just a hater.
What? It's a nitpick. We're doing nitpicks.
Yeah. My nitpick is when Laura Dern pushes on the wrong side of the door to help.
Oh, I noticed that too.
It's such a movie trope, and it's like you have to frame people separate, but like you're not getting any leverage when you're pushing close to the hinge. It's such
Yeah.
a waste of energy.
RF sine theta, okay? Unless you're at the end of the radius, you're not
Also,
putting a lot of force in.
So annoying in that scene. They're trying. Grant and Sattler are trying to keep the door closed. Tim is just standing there going, ah, and the shotgun is on the floor. I'm like,
I know,
yo,
exactly.
just get the shotgun. Shoot the dino in the face. You know, it's like a simple solution.
I got the screenplay open again. Gennaro, this is overwhelming, John. Are these characters animatronics?
What?
No, yeah, in the screenplay it says animatronics.
Oh, so it was an ad lib. I love
must
it.
be, yeah.
What a
That's
weird
great.
ad lib.
And
That's amazing.
This screenplay actually does something weird I've never seen before, where it'll have lines of dialogue and then it'll give alternates. So it'll be like, he says, are these characters or people, are these people animatronic? Like, I don't know why they just
you've
baked
never-
in. I've never seen that.
Oh, okay. So, well, that's like a common thing when I get sides for like auditions and stuff. They'll be like, "Here's an alt," so they want you to read both just to cover it in case they like the second one later or something.
I guess yeah. Michael Crichton wanted to leave the option open.
Yeah. The ice cream buffet. That ice cream was basic. That ice cream was from like Safeway or something.
Yeah.
Why?
This is a nitpick. Well, because the whole scene is they're eating the ice cream because it's going to melt, and it's supposed to be very expensive ice cream because he spared no
But
expense.
it's like a plastic tub.
Hammond
yeah.
says multiple times throughout that, oh, spared no expense, spared no expense. We have the best stuff here. And the ice cream is like
Based on
basic-ass
what?
grocery store ice cream.
They're
What?
big tubs. They're not like the 4-liter ones.
tubs.
They're tall. They're like when you go to get ice cream and there's the person scooping out for you. Those are deeper tubs.
Yeah,
than
but you
normal.
would expect it to be in like a little, like when I go to when you get the fancy ice cream, it comes in like a box
No, but
or a
this is-
different type of bin. Or a
This
pail.
isn't consumer facing though. This is like industrial. So it would have been in your like your array of 12 ice creams that you're standing over and they've got the big door that comes
All
over
right,
top
fine.
of them.
Fine, you're
it's
right.
commercial.
But they could illustrate it a little better.
I didn't like the
put it in a metal thing.
when
or
the
something.
kids go in there and there's that buffet of food laying out.
buffet. Who is that for?
I don't know, but then they start eating it and it shows what they've gorged on. There's like half that blueberry pie is gone and shit. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, right. And that kid can't put away.
Like, I haven't eaten
grown.
since yesterday.
Maybe,
Better.
yeah, maybe that girl's got a hollow leg.
I just found that ice cream scene like it's a big moment for Hammond, and I felt nothing. I felt dead on the inside.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like his turning point, or not his turning point, but it's like him kind of
All is
putting it out
lost.
there.
I'll,
yeah,
I'll
And
give
I
you
felt
that.
nothing.
Yeah, I'll give you that his journey is not really. You don't feel it as much. It's more kind of like you realize by the end that he has changed.
Yeah.
But during the changing, we don't really get him like wrestling so much with it. And maybe that's just like the actor or like. But there are definitely scenes where he shows visible concern for his grandchildren and he hears the gunshots over the phone and he like screams and he's
Yeah.
like obviously there's the scene where he's they're on the tour and none of the dinosaurs show up and he's like sitting there holding his hands and Malcolm's like tapping on the camera and he's like there is going to be dinosaurs on this dinosaur tour, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I really hate that man. But I guess that's like
At that stage, he just wants the part
Yeah.
to perform.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like when he's doing the ice cream thing, he's reflecting on what they did wrong.
Yes.
And he's still not getting it. And Sadler's like, no, you can't just like try again and try to like cross all the T's and dot all the I's. You
Yeah.
just fundamentally, this is a bad idea.
He's like, the next one will be better. The next one will have control. And he's like, you never had control. Like, you can't have
Well,
control.
maybe if they made the raptor enclosure bigger than like 10 feet across. There's how many raptors? There was like 5 or 6. And they're like, oh, the big mama killed the other 2. I'm like, yeah, because they're in like a 10 foot by 10
Yeah.
foot space. Like,
Yeah.
it's so unrealistic that you have these like 9 foot tall dinosaurs
I
in this
mean,
tiny space.
I have another
maybe
nitpick
it's
I
saying
just thought of.
something about like zoos and like how people are dumb and think that animals can get by like living in these tiny
Maybe.
things.
But that one was a little too
No,
unbelievably
for
small.
sure. For sure.
Okay, here's another nitpick I just realized now. In the early scene when Grant is describing why raptors are like birds,
Yeah.
he says, look at the pelvis, it's backwards like a bird. Look at the air sacs in their spinal column, it's like a bird.
Yeah.
And then his third piece, I don't know which logical
Even the
fallacy
word.
this is. Even the word raptor means birds. Like, that has nothing to do with raptors. That's human, that's man-made. That is just a total non sequitur.
That bothered me as well.
It's not
I was like,
evidence.
that's not a piece of evidence for your case. You just like threw something extra in
Yeah.
there.
That's
Do you guys
bullshit.
notice the first time we see the skeleton in the like entrance of Jurassic Park, the weird ass stance that skeleton is in? It's like a Mario hop. It's got 1 foot on its base and it's like knee is up and its arms are like like that. It's so weird.
It's about to body slam the other guy.
I thought that was such a strange choice.
It's like now we know that the primary adaptive behavior of T-Rexes was to straight up body slam,
To bebop.
jump up,
Yeah. Okay. So
jump
I
off the
like
ring corner.
I like when their kids are in the kitchen and they're escaping the Velociraptors, but there's like a shot where the Velociraptor is staring right at where the kids are going and doesn't
Yeah.
notice them, and it's like the Velociraptor would have seen them, and it's frustrating.
He would
to
have
me.
seen them, but I think I kind of liked that because it's depicting the raptors as kind of being thinking beings, right? They're not like just dumb animals where as soon as they see something they attack. They see them running out the door and they're just kind of like, all right, if I go after them right now, maybe I won't get them in time. I'm just going to observe. And I like
maybe.
that the movie and they
Clearly,
basically-
the movie has sufficiently built up the raptors that Riley's given them the benefit of
That's
the doubt.
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
For sure. Well,
I think
they say them, Muldoon, the Australian guy, says that like they think.
I think that it's more just a
They
a
play
failure of
knifey spoony.
I think it's more just a failure of the VFX, and like in the shot, because the aisles are angled, you wouldn't immediately understand that the Velociraptor has seen them because
Right.
like it's an angle and they're like there's something in between them for you.
Yeah.
But no,
So you think it's an error?
I think it's an error.
Okay, I like that scene where the raptor's just running right at her, but then it turns out it's a reflection.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Nice little. You got me.
Yeah.
Worst animatronic or whatever practical effects shot in the movie is when we're behind the Velociraptor's feet and it's running forward.
Yeah.
It just looks so
It's
dumb.
too
like,
stiff.
I can't see that as anything except a guy holding the things, being like, oh,
Monty Python, like someone with 2 coconuts, like making trotting
Yeah.
noises.
Did you guys find it weird when the helicopter lands right at the beginning and Hammond's like already in their
Yeah,
trailer.
totally.
Like the timing of it is so weird. It's like, wait, did he like sprint? Like, did he like go like hide? Like, how did no one notice him go into their trailer?
Helicopters takes minutes to land.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
everybody's like, oh, there it is. And like, you don't get out right away.
I want to see the other camera angle of him like shuffling out and being like.
I mean, you can say that, they're running around the site trying to cover up their dig
Yep.
for reasons unknown. Like the dirt is going to ruin it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, there's a little error I noticed when they're in the helicopter. They're approaching the island, and Hammond has his back to the cockpit. He's facing backwards, but he's the one that goes, there it is.
Oh.
Like the island. Like you can't see that. Unless you shoulder check, you can't see it.
Yeah.
Spielberg's so dumb, man. He's basically as dumb as Kubrick.
There's a lot
That's
of
a joke. That's a joke.
It's a joke.
Kubrick's a
There's
master
lot of
filmmaker, and so is
continuity
Spielberg.
errors in this movie, which is kind of surprising for such a big budget movie. Like the most famous one is when the T-Rex goes into the Jeep, the glass breaks and repairs itself many times.
Wait, what?
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you watch it, it like cracks, and then the next shot it'll be back together.
When the kids are like pushing on it, it gets collapsed on them.
But it's like that doesn't really matter. There's another one when they first land on the island. In the wide shot, the Jeeps are already parked, so they're landing. But then the next shot is the Jeeps parking.
Yeah,
so that's
that's
weird. Or the fence. There's lots of shots where it'll like be bent a certain way, and the next reverse shot it's bent the other way. And I found that so weird that a big budget movie just has all these weird continuity errors.
You never know. You just get so much footage, and then you
that's
prioritize what matters.
That's fair.
Okay, really quick. The shotgun shoots single bullets, and that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
It's slugs.
What?
It can be slugs.
Because
Shotgun shoots slugs.
No, he fired the shotgun 3 times. We on the phone we hear,
Oh.
and then it cuts to the shot of the glass, and there are 3 single holes in the glass.
Yeah, it's slugs. They're not buckshots.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
It's just like big, like it's not a bullet, but it's like a big single thing.
Is that common for?
That's a thing, yeah, slugs.
I know it's a thing, but like it's clearly a shotgun.
Yeah, but use a shotgun to shoot slugs,
You don't have to use a shotgun to shoot shot.
like buckshots.
But
Buckshots,
most of the time,
Well,
I
you're
hear
dealing
you.
with
I hear
dinosaurs,
you.
baby.
it was just weird.
Yeah. What does what kind of electric fence launches you 15 feet back?
Yeah, that was my next nitpick.
Yeah. Nope, that's not how that works.
He would have held on even
Yeah.
tighter and had the flesh melted off his bones.
Yeah, and then the next scene, he just has these little bandanas on his hands, and then he just continues to use his hands to
Yeah.
eat
It's a
food
pretty-
or whatever. I'm like, your hands would be done.
Yeah.
It's pretty cartoony thing. Like it's like your hair's standing on end, and they even draw attention to it. It's like this is pretty. It's like Tim, the piece of human toast.
Man, that joke.
I was like, is this a cartoon?
when
Yeah.
Grant grabs the fence, and pretends he's
That's pretty
dying.
funny.
It's
That was so
amazing.
Yeah, it's
great.
pretty
I laughed
funny.
out loud for like.
Well, speaking of cartoon, do you guys notice the like whoop sound effect
Yes!
when Newman falls?
I thought I heard that. I thought I made that up.
I burst
What
out
is
laughing.
that?
Such a weird choice. Yeah. Woo!
There's just a banana peel in the middle of the jungle.
That was so weird.
All right.
All right, we're done. I
No,
think.
one more nitpick.
Oh, jeez.
When they're in the vents, the inside the vent shot, those vents do not bend at all. But underneath, the Velociraptors can see this like huge sag.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. That's not how it works, man.
And on that note, we're out of here. And on that note, join us again next week when we are covering a new movie on HBO Max called Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, Jesse Plemons.
It looks evocative.
It's getting good reviews.
Yeah.
Check it out, guys.
And also tweet at us at Carpal Critics and email us hello@carpalcritics.ca.
Hello.
Greetings.
How are you doing? Thank you for emailing.
See you later.